What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and as someone who, uses Starlink for their business, and someone who follows Elon Musk's career, the kind of politicization or the situation where him deploying Starlink in Ukraine has turned out to be kind of one of these really important, at least for them, military advancements to in their battle with Russia. And everything that Elon does or doesn't do is basically affecting the outcome of the war potentially. And new information came out yesterday that essentially people are saying led to Elon avoiding a disaster, complete disaster, by basically not taking part of it. Now, it's being politicized incorrectly, so I'm going to report exactly how it actually happened. You see, there's essentially this. It isn't that Elon Musk thwarted an attack. He refused to facilitate one. He prevented a Pearl Harbor style ambush on the Russians. He isn't in the business of ending people. He is in the business of changing the world. I salute him for not taking part. He wrote here. I'm going to go back to actually the story here before I get to that. Did Elon Musk prevent a Russia-Ukraine nuclear battle? Elon Musk holds many titles. He's the CEO of SpaceX and Tesla and owns social media company X, and was recently rebranded from Twitter, going by excerpt of his biography published in the Washington Post. He also prevented World War III, an assertion he renounced. According to an excerpt from Walter Isaacson's book, Musk disabled his company's Starlink satellite communication networks, which were being used by the Ukrainian military to go after Russian naval fleet in Sevastopol, Crimea, sneakily. The Ukraine army was using Starlink as a guide to target Russian ships and attack them with 6 small drone submarines packed with things that go boom. Musk stopped this from happening, and their drones, quote, lost connectivity and washed ashore harmlessly. Musk, however, says this is actually not what happened at all. Imagine that. In a post on X, the SpaceX CEO said that Starlink was not even active in the Crimea region in the first place, and that SpaceX did not deactivate this network. He further clarified, although there was a request from government authorities to activate Starlink in the region where the attack on Russia was about to take place, he didn't agree to the request. Quote, then SpaceX would be explicitly complicit in a major act of war and conflict escalation, his post said. He writes here, in his actual words, there was an emergency request from government authorities to activate it all the way to Sevastopol. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. The obvious intent being to sink most of the Russian fleet at anchor. If I had agreed to the request, then SpaceX would have been explicitly complicit in a major act of war and escalation. I mean, that's scary. You see this original post, here. Elon covertly instructed his engineers to deactivate Starlink satellite communications. I mean, Mario Nafal, who never gets it wrong. Mario is a great newsman, everybody. He posts fake news, and then he gets fact-checked appropriately. There's no evidence to support this, and Elon Musk himself refutes these claims, saying Starlink regions in question were not activated. SpaceX did not deactivate anything. I mean, but this is wild. Washington, I mean, it's why are we even involved in this? You see this post, both sides should agree to a truce. Every day that passes, more Ukrainian and Russian youth pass away to gain and lose a small piece of land with borders barely changing. This is not worth their lives. Well, of course it isn't. I 100% agree that there should be a truce. I know I have Russian viewers, probably less now that I awkwardly stumbled into covering this in the early days. But I don't want them to lose their lives over this. And I probably have fewer Ukrainian viewers now because my position is to stop funding this. But it's mostly because I don't want this type of escalation. Steve Mark Ryan writes, correct. As I've said, this only ends in one of two ways: World War III or negotiated peace. has been the case from outset. The longer it continues, the closer the casualties of 2 will be to 1. Utter madness that still no negotiations have taken place. The mere suggestions still cause outrage. Did he stop it? Well, no, I don't think so. But he also didn't escalate it. And that's why this meme is so powerful. You know, here's Ukraine says, you know, do nothing and be responsible for no. This is a famous thought experiment. Post Starlink lever, thousands of young Russians pass away. Do nothing, be responsible for, you know, so Ukraine can go do what they want to do, but Starlink doesn't have to help them. And by the way, Starlink is just an internet provider for now. Okay. This is not what they were developed for, hopefully. You know, they're immensely important for, you know, my ability to stream. And you can see this. This is what the craziest is. A really awesome way to highlight misinformation. You see somebody respond factually saying literally the exact opposite. Starlink was active already. They went out of their way to deactivate it. We know this is untrue. And Tristan Tate responds, let's pretend you're right. You're not. Okay, sure. Pull the lever so nobody dies. Keep the lever in place and end thousands of young Russian men. He was under no obligation to provide Starlink to anybody. If this was the case, he still did the right thing. Life is better than death. And then again, these pro-war people, thousands of young Russians would not pass away if they would not be invading Ukraine. You think the soldiers on the ground and the Russian forces want to be there? You think they want to be invading Ukraine? I doubt it. If they did, then why are they having to conscript 80-year-old men to do it? You know, I think that Elon had no choice whatsoever. This Elon Musk sparks fury as billionaire admits scuppering Ukrainian attack on Russia. Ukrainian officials have reacted furiously to claims in a new biography of the tech billionaire, which reportedly says secret order meant Ukraine submarine drones strapped with things that go boom lost connectivity and washed ashore harmlessly as they approached Russian fleet last year. An aide to the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, responded to the claims and said that the decision effectively allowed Russian warships to fire missiles at Ukrainian cities. Sometimes a mistake is much more than a mistake, Mr. Podolyak wrote. I mean, it's so funny the demands that these warmongers want. You know, Zelensky, I keep seeing we keep sending him more and more money, and then he's not even asking for it anymore. He just demands it, which is, feels great as an American taxpayer. And also I'm in the highest tax bracket. So, I mean, every dime I pay the government, it keeps going overseas for this proxy war. Elon Musk posted on Twitter. Now, of course, he posted overnight that agreeing to Kiev's emergency request to activate Starlink all the way to that town would have meant SpaceX would have been actively participating, which I agree with. Both sides should agree to a truce. Every day that passes, more people pass away. It comes following excerpts published by CNN from Walter Isaacson's soon-to-be-released biography of Musk, in which the billionaire is sent to believe that Starlink was not meant to be involved in wars. Big agree. It was so people can watch Netflix and chill and get online for school and do useful, peaceful things, not drone strikes. I agree and hope that's true. Musk wanted to avoid what he called a mini Pearl Harbor. After Russia disrupted Ukraine's communication systems just before the full-scale invasion in February 2022, Musk agreed to provide Ukraine with millions of dollars of SpaceX-made Starlink terminals, which became crucial to Ukraine's military operations. By the way, I don't think he was obligated to do that. I don't think he's obligated to pay for it either. Most of those terminals allowed Ukraine to stay connected despite Moscow's interference with its technological infrastructure. Mr. Isaacson had previously written biographies on Steve Jobs and Albert Einstein. Well, I don't know if he really did stop it, but it's interesting that he's getting thrust in the middle of it. Certainly if he had actively, given them the tools to go after it, he would have been participating in the same way the United States government is. And he's not even getting paid for it like our government is. So kudos to him for staying out of it. I wish that, it's cold, but, he shouldn't be providing his Starlink satellites for free to them either. I pay for two of them. I pay for 2 business class Starlink satellites, that's $1,000 a month combined cost to run this business. And I'm not getting anything for free. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, I guess. As a customer, it's a little annoying because he's giving away bandwidth, and people who pay for Starlink aren't even getting the promised speeds for the most part. But anyway, good on him for not taking part in this. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.